First question of all of them.
Well, first
How
of
are
all,
you?
hi. How are you,
Yeah,
bud? How you
hi. Like,
doing?
I'm doing good, Todd. I'm
Are you
doing good.
good?
How are
Good.
you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you.
That's that's really good, man.
It's been a very fun, exciting time.
It has. It really has. That's what I was gonna say. Like, it's like, how do you feel like having so many people right now be praising how Mortal Kombat 2's trailer has blown people's minds out of the water compared to how the first one kind of felt with the first trailer? Like, this one seems to have skyrocketed.
Well, yeah, I mean, the good news is that we know a lot more than we did when we made the first one. So we took a lot of advisement from the fans and learned a lot from the fans and Ed Boon and just the feedback we got from the first one. And so the fans are the ones really who helped us get this movie where it is, and therefore get the trailer where it is. And so the reception of the trailer then is really a result of all of us working together to make
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat what we want it to be.
that's true. I mean, for starters, to see Timo, the guy who does like the night comes before us and all that, he's been like petitioning so hard and speaking on how good Mortal Kombat 2 is and everything. Like, how does that
Shit.
make you feel? Someone who makes like these really top tier martial arts movies to see and fighting to hear him say that about your film.
Well, we had a lot of screenings to test the movie, to which is what we always do when we make movies, is we always test them to see how the audience is reacting, to see the pace, to see how the story is working, to see if there's any confusion, and not just for fans, but for general audience too, to make sure that they can keep up with the story, because there's a lot of characters in this movie. And so the testing screenings went really well, and we learned a lot, and they were really fun. It was really fun to see the audience respond to all the different moments that are in the movie, and that ultimately people came away from the movie feeling really satisfied. And so the people that have seen it hopefully um, are saying good things about it. And
Yeah.
yeah, it felt like we did what we needed to do in this one in terms of audience enjoyment.
See, now with audience enjoyment and everything, because how the first one was, there were a lot of deleted scenes and stuff that were in there.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of people have asked me to ask, will there be like the ultimate Mortal Kombat 2 cut or anything like that?
This is so interesting that you should say. I know people have said that, and don't forget, the first movie was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So we didn't really have a chance to screen the movie very, very much then, because you couldn't go to theaters.
Hmm.
So we really didn't have the same testing process that we had in this one. So a lot of the deleted scenes were scenes that we just kind of felt like, well, are we being repetitive? Do we need those scenes? This movie, because we tested it. Well, first of all, this movie going back because we really knew what we wanted this movie to be. We really made sure that script was what we wanted it to be. We tested the movie extensively. And then we went back and got the stuff we needed. There aren't that many deleted scenes in this one. We really honed it in and kind of narrowed it down to what we needed, and really took our time. And so that for the first movie, the scenes we took out, we didn't know if we needed or not, because we didn't really have a lot of chance to get a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
And so when we put those scenes out and people really liked those scenes, they probably could have been in the first movie had we had more chance to
Mm.
test it properly. I never saw the first Mortal Kombat on a big screen until I rented a theater here after it was released.
But
I only
really?
I only saw it on a computer monitor. Yeah,
Oh,
because we couldn't go anywhere. We were stuck.
yeah.
We were stuck inside, and so we had to edit everything remotely. So I never saw the movie on the big screen. Well,
Oh
this movie
man.
I've seen on the big screen many, many, many times. And so um, because of that process, I think this movie is going to be a lot more satisfying for the fans.
I mean, already it seems like it is. Like a lot of people are loving everything from the classic stages you put into there. That's another thing that we've seen the Deadpool stage in the trailer. We've seen the portal stage and the bottom of the pit stage. Will there be more classical stages and that you could possibly maybe wink at or even like say maybe? And would you say that the stages you have shown in the trailer are all pivotal to the storyline, or are they more of like, oh, that's a cool reference or Easter egg for fans?
I think the first answer is maybe.
Oh, okay.
And the second answer is um, what we really tried to do was make sure that everything made sense in the movie.
Hmm.
And again, when you're dealing with 11 characters, like I know that a lot of people uh, were like, "Oh, Liu Kang wasn't really like instrumental in the first movie." I don't. It's so funny as a filmmaker, I don't see it that way. I felt Liu Kang was the person who brought them into the story, who taught them, and ultimately had, a really pivotal fight. And so I think that all of the places where the fights occur in the movie are purposeful and make sense. Um, and I'm glad that people like that. Again,
Mm.
we promised a tournament in the second movie,
Yeah, we got it.
and we got it. And so I will also say, just to back up, I, I'm the producer of the movie. I'm not the director of the movie.
Yeah.
So, and then I, my job as a producer is to manage the franchise for New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers. And so they're the and also NetherRealm and Ed Boon. So I'm not the person who's like making all those decisions. That's the director. My job is to facilitate and manage the franchise in totality. So those specific choices, how things look, the cinematography, things like that, that is really in the domain of the director.
Yeah. So how many scripts would you say you and like Ed Boon had to go through in a way to search for this right script with like Jeremy Slater? Like how many would you say?
Well, it didn't really work like that. So what we did was after the first movie came out, we digested all of the feedback, not just from the fans, but from the testing
Hmm.
of the movie, and really we already knew what we wanted to do in the second one. Generally, obviously, we knew we wanted there to be a tournament. Obviously, we knew we wanted to introduce Johnny Cage and things of that nature. So by taking all of that feedback, we really honed in on figuring out exactly what we wanted that second movie to be. Now, also realize we're hoping that this is not the end of the franchise.
Yeah.
So this is not like we're just doing this movie and this is going to be it, hopefully. So we have a plan further down the line for things. Um, there's character development, uh, you know. Uh, so, for example, Hanzo became Scorpion in the first movie and Bihan became Sub-Zero. Those characters have evolved. I know everybody's waiting for Kano to get the metal plate in his eye.
Yeah.
That will happen. Like there are things that are planned because we don't want to just do everything in this movie and then have nowhere to go with these
I see
characters.
what you mean. Yeah.
And so in movies you're developing characters over time, and it's hard, I know, for people who love the game to understand that, but there are plans going forward, other characters that aren't in this movie, uh, characters that may come back. There's plans, and what's great about Mortal Kombat and the franchise and the fans and our interaction with the fans between Warner Brothers, myself, Ed Boon, and the legions of fans out there is as we go forward, nothing is set in stone. We can adjust and we can make it. We just want to make it better every time. So
Hmm.
after the first movie, we really took all the input and the feedback and said, okay, what's the best second version of this story? And so we included the characters we thought would tell the best second version of the story. There's so many characters. And so then if we're allowed to do further movies, hopefully this one does well enough, there's chances to do other things, spin-offs, another sequel to propel the story, bring in different characters and evolve the characters that we already have. It's not like we left Jax with his tiny little arms the whole time, right? So
Yeah.
we're trying to develop these characters along the way because there's decades of games. There's untold versions and different versions of these characters. And I know everybody has their favorites. And hopefully over time, we're going to get there. We're going to get to be able to explore all these different versions of these characters and further the storyline along and get all those fatalities and get all those stages worked in. So yes, that's a long-winded answer to your plan, to your thing is like we have a plan and we start this plan, and as we go and as we test the movie and as we listen to the fans, that movie evolves until it can't evolve anymore. It has to stop at some point because of money and time. and
Yeah.
then and then we'll go, oh, we missed that. Oh, we'd love to do that. Oh, can we do that in one of the spin-offs, or can we do that in maybe a movie going down the line? That
Well,
is our plan.
you kind of have that because I mean, Liu Kang's now reset every era in MK1. So anything you don't do, you can be like, well, we can just make that movie instead.
Well, I don't know if you saw Ludi's post that he gained 35 pounds for the second movie. There's a reason for that.
No.
So it's like we're evolving these characters as
Mhm.
we go. You know, we're not just saying this is Jax and he's just going to stay that way forever and that's who he is. And this is Kano and he's got his plate and that's him for the rest of the franchise.
Yeah.
We're trying to like, so when that happens, it'll be something to look forward to in the next movie. And
Uh,
yes, and yes, is it disappointing for people that only see Kano with the plate in his
hmm.
eye? Well, perhaps, but hopefully when we get there, and we will, hopefully, it will be so exciting, and it will be a good reason for that to happen.
See, I can already see that happening because obviously the trailer and the poster you posted already teased change of Liu Kang. Him
Mhm.
repping the more red, and everyone knows when he wears the red, that's like MK4 storylines. That's Shinnok and all the other type of things going into that time. So I don't know if there's anything you can wink at or deny on camera here, Todd, and say about maybe where Liu Kang's story in this might push and go towards? So I
Well,
know a lot of fans.
there's been a lot of reporting on the testing,
Mhm.
and I will say that we all, every single person that works on this franchise, love Liu Kang and realize how absolutely essential and important he is,
Yeah,
and that I promise you, he is propelling this franchise forward.
great. That I think that's the one question I think everybody probably has been asking for ages, just about Liu Kang. So I'm glad that you're able to give that one. There are some other ones as well, like surprise characters. You said there's lots of characters, but is there anyone that maybe has not even been shown on a cast yet who actually is in the film, maybe foreshadowing for the future of their appearance?
I can't tell you that answer.
I knew you were gonna say that. So, um,
There's characters that aren't in the trailer, and there's cameos that aren't in the trailer. So that's always hard too,
mm,
because we want to put our best foot forward on the trailer, but that's really to give you an idea of what it's about.
yeah,
We can't show you everything, and believe me, there's tons of as many comments in the comments section of please don't show us everything, as you have to show us something. Like we want to see that, and then so there's this push pull of you want to see your favorite characters and you want to see them represented the way you want them, but you don't want to see too much because you want to go see the movie, and
yeah.
the movie is different than the game, and so there's this balance we're also playing of a lot of people love the 90s Johnny Cage.
Hmm.
Well, this movie's not set in the 90s. I know you said it was.
I
By the
thought it
way,
was.
you're very good at just saying things as happening.
I know.
you
I know.
just,
It's
you
just
just,
I
I
was.
always watch you and you go, well, okay, he's just saying that. That's the way it is. This movie is not set in the 90s. And so there's the 90s Johnny Cage, and then there's the 2025 Johnny Cage. And I know that there's a lot of people that love the 90s Johnny Cage. And so I understand that. But this movie's not set in the 90s unless it would have been a prequel to the prequel, which would have been very, very strange. So, there's choices that are being made also for the good of the whole franchise too.
Mm.
And again, this isn't stuff that we're just making in a vacuum for fun. We're talking to Ed, we're talking to Warner Brothers, we're all working together, and we're trying to look at this franchise as a whole because we love it so much, and we hope that it lasts a long time. So we're trying to look at it as a whole, as opposed to each individual chapter, as it were. But we're also trying to make each individual chapter as good as we can.
Because I've noticed that because it feels like the way how you structure these movies, which I think is cool because the first movie was about Cole and about new people being experienced into Mortal Kombat as well as a new character. Whereas the second film feels more like Johnny Cage, but also with Kitana and them like, as well being introduced. And it feels like the structures of your movies in these franchises is very dedicated to singular characters. So would you say maybe going forward, the next one might be possibly something that you're thinking about is all of them morely feeling not so centric on one character, or do you think maybe it will be just centered on one character?
Well, you said it very well. The first movie was really because we didn't know how it would be received because it hadn't been done since 95.
Yeah.
We exactly right. We were making a movie for new people to find to Mortal Kombat.
Mhm.
And what we didn't anticipate is how many people already know the game and love it and know the characters and didn't love that new way into the movie. We acknowledge that. We were trying to bring a new chapter into Mortal Kombat and do the
Mhm.
best we could with that. Once we realized that we had done that now, we didn't have to do that any further. And so we could then now do the tournament. And I've seen a lot of comments saying this should have been the first movie, perhaps. And so this is Mortal Kombat tournament. This is Mortal Kombat with Johnny Cage. This is Mortal Kombat with Katana. And so we're doing that version. Going forward, there is the desire to expand it even further and to make it bigger and better and more exciting and bigger fights. And so that is the journey that we're headed on. Before that, hopefully, there might be a spin-off we could do that could tie it in before we just did the third Mortal Kombat. Those are discussions that are going to happen once we see how this movie does. And however this movie is received by the public in mass, we'll make adjustments and we'll take that feedback and go,
Yeah.
oh, wow, that really worked. Oh, this is something they want. We didn't explain enough. We're gonna keep going. That's what's great about this. We can interact with each other and we're listening and we're gonna take that feedback in and go, oh yeah, let's do so that it's enjoyable for everybody.
Mm.
We're not arrogant in any stretch of the imagination to think we're gonna tell you what Mortal Kombat should be.
Yeah. That's I think that's the really good thing about it is since the first one and going into this one, you've been very vocal online with everybody. You've been really forefront with everyone, asking things, talking about things. And you've always been really good to the fan base, and it's like you've got like a really high place in the MK communities, like appreciation and everything. How does that make you feel knowing how genuinely people are glad seeing how you approach us all online and stuff?
What's my job? I'm a movie producer, and so I my job is to make movies that people enjoy and entertain people. And I want to listen. I don't know everything by any stretch, and this community is so large and there's so much to it. There's decades and decades of games. It would be impossible to please everyone at once because everybody plays these games individually and have their favorite characters and have the way their favorite characters look and act and they have their favorite moves and and there is a whole fan base that loves Katana and a whole fan base that loves Johnny and a whole fan base that loves Baraka and a whole fan base that loves Sindel and each one wants their character to be the hero because that's the character they play, and that's the character that's the hero to them.
Mm.
I appreciate that. I understand that, and I want to give every character their due. I know a lot of people were really upset that Goro didn't get his due in the first movie. Very expensive character to to make, and so we tried to use him, and there's no world where he's not going to eventually come back. I mean, that would be silly. That's how Mortal Kombat is. There's ways to do it. um I understand that, and so what we have to do is, given the budget that we have, schedule, time, and all that, we have to try to do the best we can to make it the most enjoyable. And so for me, the reason I love the feedback and I love to listen and learn is I'm really trying to keep steering this franchise in a way that gets, like I said, gets better every movie and more enjoyable every movie and brings more fans to our franchise that we love,
Yeah,
and expand it. And yes, there are going to be people that are going to be mad that their particular character wasn't given their proper due, or didn't look exactly how they thought it should look in this particular movie. Well, we will adjust, and we know, like I said, Kano getting his play, we know down the line we're not ignoring that. We're
mm.
not so arrogant that we're going to be like, we don't care what you say. We do care. But you see online, somebody says, this is the way it should be, and then someone posts a picture from another game going, well, this is
Yeah,
how it should be, and then
yeah,
there's two totally different pictures, and like, okay, well, you got to pick one. Can't do both. And so if
yeah,
this person's going to be mad if you do this one, and this person's going to be mad if you do this one. So we understand that too, that there's no way that, because the games have been going on for so long and there's so many different versions, there's no way that you can make every single fan happy every
mm.
single time out. But we're doing our best, and we're not trying to piss the fans off by any stretch. We care what you think, and we're just trying to make the movie as entertaining and as enjoyable as we possibly can.
Yeah. And that's the really good thing, is that it's enjoyable in every way, and people are getting more used to and seeing this new version of Mortal Kombat, as there never really is one singular version of Mortal Kombat anymore. What about music, could you say, as people want to know about the music in the fight scenes? Obviously, the first one had a certain type of tone of music, but
Mm-hmm.
people really wanted that techno and other types
Mm-hmm.
of when they have certain fights. Would you say that's something you've incorporated more in this one?
Ben is an amazing composer, and he and Simon have worked very diligently to make sure that every fight is the most exciting it can be in terms of the musical choices, the composition of it. But
Mm.
I will tell you that before the movie is over, you will hear Immortals in the movie.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what many people want to hear. Immortals is the most famous Mortal Kombat song, to be fair, so it's like it's used in the games. And
I
now I'm
know.
glad you've said that.
I trust me. I know. I've heard it a lot. It before the movie is over. It is in the
Yeah.
movie.
Ah, that's a good one, Todd. Um, I got a few more questions for you because I know
Sure.
you haven't got too much time. Okay, so another one is Martin Ford. How is it like working with that guy? 'Cause he's too large. Like, where did he's playing Goliath in like the newest film?
Right. Well, there's two ways to do Shao Kahn. You either do him as a totally CG character, of which we did not have the budget to do,
Hmm.
or you find a very, very large human that can play Shao Kahn. Martin Ford is not only a very, very large human, he's an
Yeah.
incredible actor who really cares and really does the work and works hard and studied and immersed himself in this character. And he's an incredible actor. Worked so hard. Those prosthetics take so long to put on, and was
Mm.
there every day. Never complained. And by the way, CJ too. CJ Bloomfield, those prosthetics are no joke. Really, really hard and long to do and hard to move around in. And it was hot in
Yeah.
Australia. And kudos to them for being so diligent and working so hard. And they care. Every actor in this movie really cares about the fans and really cares about the franchise. And they work so hard. Martin did an incredible job.
Yeah, you can tell that they do. I mean, Martin Ford and CJ Bloomfield and Max Sung and everyone, the amount of research that they went into making sure that they were getting the characters right. Like CJ Bloomfield said, he went to read Malibu comics. He played Mortal Kombat 11 all the time and X. Like, it's good to see that the cast are doing them exact same type of things, and it
Yep.
shows how much they really care about the product.
And they have to also make decisions for their performances too, because there's so many games and
Yeah.
so many different versions of the characters that they have to kind of hone in on and to figure out which version of that character they want to most be like.
Mm. And what about Carl Urban as Johnny Cage? Because obviously that's a picking I don't think anybody saw coming. They had picks from like Ryan Reynolds,
Sure,
Scott Adkins,
sure.
and then now they then who was it again? I think it
The
was The
Miz.
Miz. Yeah, The Miz
Well, okay,
wanting
like
to
I
play.
said, so if the Miz, who's young, would have been '90s Johnny Cage, or you just forget that there was a '90s Johnny Cage and you make it present day modern
Yeah.
Johnny Cage, of which people probably would have been upset because he's not '90s Johnny Cage.
Hmm.
In talking to Ed and in talking to NetherRealm, and 90s Johnny Cage was the Johnny Cage we wanted to do. Well, we're doing a movie in 2025. So what's the answer is that he is the age that he is. And
Okay.
so that we chose to do. We love 90s Johnny Cage. Like I said, I love 90s movies.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I can't tell you how many people said they want to see that movie.
It's
I would
true.
love to make Hard to Cage. That would be amazing. And so, you know, I have been in the movie business for 36 years. I made action movies in the 90s. I love them. And so, and I know that character. So, um, that's who we chose to do. And he is that character. He is the 90s Johnny Cage, who is arrogant and cocky and
Yeah.
did all his own stunts, so he says. And so, and was a really hardcore championship black belt and knows martial arts very well. And he is the age he is. And so, look, would Ryan Reynolds be a great Johnny Cage? Of course he would. He's also Deadpool, and he
Yeah.
makes more money than all of us. And so we, between him not being available and we couldn't afford him, again, same thing. People say, "Oh, Glenn Powell." Well, he was doing Twisters. Like there's like things where people are doing other things, right? I
Hmm.
love Scott Adkins. I think he's an incredible martial artist and a really, really fine actor. Carl Urban searched us out, came to us, pitched his version of the character. He's an incredible actor.
Yeah.
The guy has been in Star Trek and The Boys and
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. I mean,
Yeah.
he's been in big franchises. He's an
Yeah. Yes.
incredible actor, and he's so much fun to watch. And you see him in the trailer. He's great. And again, in a movie, you want a character to change and grow. And I I can't think of any character in Joseph Campbell's hero's journey where the character's like totally got it together.
Yeah.
They're always flawed and having to learn something. So in that storytelling paradigm, that seemed to be the best character to fit. And Carl is an incredible actor, and I think really, really good in the movie. And in terms of the testing, when we tested the movie, was either the favorite character or right up there.
Yeah, you can see with how he acts from just seeing him in the trailer. Like he's brought a different side of Johnny, but also kept Johnny Cage as it should be. And just seeing that little New Line Cage movie you guys did, the trailer alone was like, and I said this like months ago. I was like, what if they just released a Johnny Cage trailer for like one of his posters as a movie? And you guys did, but it was just we want that as an actual spin-off. Like, if there is ever
Sure.
chances of spin-off, I think that should be the first one that you
Maybe, sure.
absolutely make.
But also, you said it's Johnny Cage as it should be. See, that's the thing. Everybody plays the game, has a different version of who Johnny Cage is to them. I
Hmm.
understand that. Look, Cabal is my favorite character in the game, and he may or may not have died in the first movie. Like, so it's like I get it, but that doesn't make it. The people who love that version of Johnny Cage that the Miz had been incredible to play. I get it. I completely understand that. I think it's totally valid, and that there could have been a version of that perhaps that we could have done in the movie. I get it. So I don't think there's any should in Mortal Kombat. There's all kinds of different characters. I mean, look, I think we should just talk about the Jade thing real quick because it is part of that.
Okay, yeah,
I get it. There's everybody has their version of Jade, and yes, throughout all the games, Jade has had a specific look throughout the movie. I mean, throughout the franchise. In this movie, I and also some of the comments I want to talk about. I've heard comments that we're trying to be woke or political, or that she's suddenly now um, uh, you know, wanted to. She was the actress who just wanted to do it that way, or
mm,
or we're making her like not sexualized at all. Like, no, that's not true. That's not why we did that. In this movie, in this context, Simon and his team felt that for where we meet Jade in this movie, in Shao Kahn's reign, that shaved head look seemed to be the best representation of where she was when we meet her. There's no world where over the course of the franchise we're going to keep her that way. This was not
mm,
politicized at all. We're not trying to be woke. And so we're this was a decision that was made because in this movie where we meet her, it seemed to be the best representation of where Jade begins. Like I said, Kano doesn't have his plate yet. Like,
yeah,
there's no world throughout this franchise she's going to end up looking the same as she does in when we meet her in this situation. And what's very interesting to me is why I said, please see the movie. It never came up during testing. All the test screenings we had, her look never came up. So I have to assume that when you see the movie and it's explained in the movie the way it's explained, how
yeah,
we meet her, who she is, and what her journey is throughout this movie, that it is satisfying to people who will go on that journey. But like I said, I completely understand if you have a very specific version of Jade that you love to play and you love and that she has a certain look. I completely understand that. I get it. I
mm,
get that that's your preference. And so there was no way that specific look fit into where we meet her in this movie. And
yeah,
so it wouldn't have worked to just have her be this certain look when you met her. It would have felt strange considering who she is in this movie. Again, I don't want to give any too much away, but by the end of the movie, she has gone through a journey, and then going forward, she will continue her journey. We love her. I think Tatiana is an incredible actress, and I think she's beautiful. And
yeah.
so there was no way where we were trying to, you know, force anything down anyone's throat or be politicized in any way at all. This was done by Simon and the team purely from a creative point of view of this seems logical given where we meet her.
Well, thank you for that one, Teles. I'm glad you picked. That was one of the few thingy questions I was going to say. But that completely just lets everybody know that to see the film first, to see where
And by
she
the way,
is.
after seeing the film, if you still love your version of Jade, okay. Again, I I can't do every version of every character in the movie, but
Yeah,
there is no world where she's going to remain. By the way, I'll say this: there's no world where any of our characters are going to remain exactly where they are right now in this movie if we're allowed to keep continuing going forward with this franchise. Everyone's going to keep evolving and hopefully get better and better and better and more interesting and more complex.
Well, got last four questions for you, Todd. Okay.
Okay.
All right. These last four ones. So the first one is: will we be seeing any other big creatures like Goro, possibly even teased and shown, like Motaro,
In
Kintaro?
Mortal 2?
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm gonna just keep saying maybe.
Nick. Okay, then. Oh, actually, something that you
But there
can
will
miss.
be, I will tell you this, there will in the franchise, there absolutely will be focus on those big characters for
Oh,
sure.
that's great. Melina. Many people have been asking for her too. Anything on her or for her future as a character in your
We
franchise?
love Sissy.
Hmm.
She's one of our family, and she's a mainstay character in the Mortal Kombat franchise. So we have to do what's right by the franchise and continue the franchise by focusing on the characters that everybody loves.
And how long do you expect or would love to have the franchise go on to where you can keep coming back to do Mortal Kombat?
Oh, I want to do it forever. But what I really want to do and what New Line really wants to do and what Ed really wants to do is we just want it to get better with every movie. We really
Yeah,
do. You know, in the way that a really good franchise kind of expands and gets better and becomes its own thing. We really want that to happen. We really want it to just get better, get bigger. And I don't mean bigger, I do mean bigger in terms of audience, but I mean bigger in terms of scope, and in terms of what we're able to do. I would love to have other filmmakers come in and give us their perspective on it, see different versions, you know, have the hardcore raid version of it. That would be
yeah,
incredible. It's just, to see that version of the 90s movie that just is hilarious and
yeah,
bizarre would be incredible. I would love to do all of those different things. The franchise deserves it. It deserves to be taken care of, it deserves to be grown, and it deserves to keep getting better and better. And the fans are such a huge part of that because you guys know more than anybody what you want, and the more feedback we can get, the more we can kind of keep refining it and making it better and better and better.
yeah. And for the last final question, probably the most important question you'll ever be asked in any of your things. When is Rain coming in these films? When will he be back? And is there any plans for Rain in your franchise?
Well, not only are there plans for Rain in the franchise, Rain was in the first script of the first movie,
Yeah.
and we had to take Rain out because of expense. But we have an incredible fight sequence with Rain that we all want to do. And yes, love Rain and have plans for Rain in this franchise. Absolutely.
Wait, is this incredible sequence something that you're saying is in number two or something you
No,
have planned?
no, no, no. It
Oh,
was a big sequence in number one that we had to take out because we couldn't afford it. And then it didn't fit into number two, but we have plans to get not only that sequence, but that character in the franchise. Absolutely.
oh, that's great. Well, I think that's mostly my questions for you, Todd, on Mortal Kombat 2.
Fantastic.
It's been a pleasure being able to speak to you on this, Todd, and you addressing everything and talking about stuff. And just from me and everyone else, thank you for what you do in Mortal Kombat and your
And
time today.
and listen, thank you for you. You're so great. You work so hard. And I just want to say I'm sorry about this YouTube thing. I don't understand it. I don't know what it is. I don't
Mm.
know how to help. I really don't know anything about it, but I'm sorry you're going through that. And I just want to say I love interacting with the fans, and I just think it's such an honor to work on this franchise and to be a part of it. And so I just want to do right by it. So
Yeah.
thanks to everybody.
No, thank you very much, Todd, and thank you for everything, man.
All right, brother.